Welcome to the Story Tinker podcast, a place for in-depth analysis of webtoon stories. Co-hosted by sharp, witty, and dare I say, thirsty fans, we dive deep into every episode, analyzing character struggles, relationship development, and of course, theories. You can follow the Story Tinker on YouTube, podcast platforms, and social media. For bonus content, sneak peeks, and more, you can support the Story Tinker on Patreon. We are really appreciative of your likes, subscribes, and follows on all platforms. Thank you for listening to the Story Tinker, and let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 83 of Midnight Poppyland on the Story Tinker. And today we have Krystine, Laura, and Sadie.
Hi.
Hey.
Awesome. And by the way, so just a quick promotion. If you have not yet checked these things out, Laura has a podcast called Laura Speaks About Motherhood, or Asks About Motherhood, which is a very, very, very good podcast that has interviews with mothers. And I think it has great questions and really, really honest and raw people sharing their feelings, their thoughts. I think it's fantastic. And Sadie has a webtoon called Celeste.
I do.
Want to talk about it? I probably should talk about it.
Yeah, we just hit the mid-season finale. So we're having a little break at the moment. So it's a perfect time for you to catch up on the story. We're about to launch Patreon as well, which is super exciting. But it's about Yana, who is a salty, badass bitch, going around insulting people and beating boys up. So it's great fun.
Nice.
And they're all very cute boys.
They're very cute.
I have my favorite, who's her old-time friend. I have to be honest, I have a very hard time remembering the names because they're all not real names. So like, they're not like Fred and George, which I'm already familiar with, but like the one with the blue hair, Dahan, I think it's
Dahan, yeah.
Yeah. So I like him the best.
I'll let you into a secret. Most of the names are ancient mythological names.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I don't read. Which mythologies are they from?
So there's some Norse, there's some Greek, some Egyptian, there's some kind of really old Celt stuff as well in there. It's all hidden. There's all little nods in there if you look closely enough, and if you're a big enough nerd.
Cool. I love that. I think that's amazing. That is so awesome. Wow, I should read more mythology. I always feel bad that I don't read more ancient stuff. So you're like making me feel even guiltier.
You should definitely start with the Stephen Fry books. Stephen Fry, do you know who he is? Yeah, he's an actor. He's like a proper Renaissance man. I enjoy his work very much. But he did the mythos, which is all the like a retelling of all the Greek mythology, and he's done a couple of others as well. But yeah, definitely read those. They're great.
That's awesome. I was telling my husband's very into the ancient world, not necessarily from like a literary perspective, but into history, very into history. And I was telling him, I was like, now that I'm reading Lore Olympus, I want to read the Greek myths, but I was like, I don't want any spoilers, so I'm waiting till Lore Olympus is over. I'm like, it's a good thing.
No, you're safe. Lore Olympus is nothing like it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like this much like it, like an inch of it.
Fine, but I'll still wait. Because I was telling my friend, I was like, don't spoil it for me. And she's like, spoil a like myth that's thousands of years old. I was like,
that's fun. And sorry, Sadie, what was your Rob comic called again?
Called Celeste.
Fun.
Nice.
Moon obsessed.
Yep. Anywho, so Krystine, I believe you are our starter.
All right, so we start with Poppy. She's like, I walked back to the office in a daze, still holding 2 cups of coffee, just in case he changes his mind and decides to come back for it. Poor Poppy. She was looking so sad. It broke my heart. I was like I was sad, but then also like furious, but then also like kind of understanding of like Tora's situation, but also still mad.
And that's the complexity of life. You can love someone and still be mad at them.
And so you just see Poppy just like staring into space, holding 2 cups of coffee, and then just like tears running down her face, and she's like, before being slammed by a flood of emotions, and she's just like, oh damn it. I know.
Sweet Poppy.
I know.
Lily Dusk is a master at the visual language, as we say just about every episode, but the background changes with Poppy's emotional state. So she is like in a state of shock at first, and then in one panel she's looking down at the pink background, pinkish background, and then it gets darker as she looks down at her coffee cups. Her tears are starting to fall, and then when she's like then it's a black background.
And one of the things that struck me also, if you notice, she's like, "Ugh, damn it." And the next line also, she's mad at herself for being emotional. And
I know.
I'm like, you don't have to be, Poppy. Like, you're a human being. Of course you feel emotions. But she's so concerned with being in control of herself.
She's on her own as well. You know, she doesn't need to worry about what other people think because there isn't anyone else there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, she's still worrying about it.
I guess like crybaby is like a thing that like little kids would say to each other. So maybe she feels like she's not grown up enough because she's crying too much about so many other things. Like, Poppy, it's okay. Crying is okay.
I love crying because when you feel bad enough and then you cry, you feel so much better afterwards. Like, it's such a relief.
It releases hormones, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never looked it up.
It's physically good for you to cry if you're feeling emotional. It kind of gets rid of a load of excess junk floating around your system. I should listen to myself more. I never cry.
What, really? I cry a lot. But I mean, I also have to say I cry out of good things too. Like I often tear up when I'm like grateful, because I think about that a lot. Like, I'm very grateful for my life most of the time, and like I always have tears in my eyes and I'm like, oh, my life is so amazing. What do I do to deserve this?
Oh, that's so sweet. Aw. So I read somewhere that emotions, like physically, the hormones that are released in our brain take about 90 seconds to cycle through our system. And the reason emotions will last longer is because we pay more attention to it. And so like when we're giving it attention, it's like just pressing that button in our brain to release more of that emotion. So if we just allow the emotions to come out, if we just allow ourselves to cry, problem is when we're stuck on.
Okay. I don't know if I'm the only one, but it kind of like faded in and out, and I think you're frozen. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. Are you still good?
Halfway.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Okay. All right. And so we see like a long shot of Poppy, and she's like, I was doing so well with the crying too. And then we get some like really nice like scenery panels. And then Poppy's like, crap, I better go up now. Now that I've calmed down. Calm down.
Before we continue, sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
I was wondering what the purpose of the panel of the buildings was, just to show the passage of time, maybe. But that blue car that's in the panel with the buildings, looks like the same blue car that's driving past Poppy.
Like, do you think it's like a little egg about, it looks like that guy. Well, the only other blue car to my memory is the 𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗍, right? The guy who carjacked his car.
Oh, I was thinking of a taxi driver.
Yeah, I don't remember what his car was. I thought it was more like grayish or brown. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Someone put a comment on one of the Facebook groups saying that Gil has a blue car.
Oh.
Oh no! I almost don't want to go back and check now.
I didn't check it. I just read. I kind of skipped over it after work. I was like, oh no.
No.
I don't remember his car at all, but I don't remember everything.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember. I kind of took it as like it's just showing like that those panels kind of showing like how like alone she feels, like an imagery of like how alone she feels.
Yeah, also to me, I felt like, you know, nobody is prompting her, hey, Poppy, where are you? Go back to work. But she's just so conscientious on her own that she is, you know, telling herself she has to get back.
There's not any other people around either, are there? You know, usually in Lily's panels, she's got so many kind of details like background characters and all the things that I never bother drawing because it takes too long. But there's none of that in these, so it's kind of, it just feels very lonely, doesn't it?
And I just looked it up. It's not the same taxi car. It's a different shade of bluish.
Thank you.
So maybe it is Gil. Yeah, I was wondering if it was something nefarious, like, oh, someone's stalking Poppy. I don't know.
Oh God.
Anyway.
Well, I hope it's not Gil.
I hope not.
Oh, he's so creepy with his creepy chin.
Yeah, I know. Still not over that revelation of Gil.
No. No.
Like tears striking my heart now. It's like,
I know.
He's not even real. It's just I guess these episodes were perfect for Halloween time, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, okay, so Poppy's like, he probably got a text about work and was distracted. I'll tell him how I feel when he comes pick me up, like he said I could. I'm like, you better. I was like, you tell that man off.
I was so impressed that she was able to think clearly enough and give him the benefit of the doubt, which that takes a lot. I mean, I know we all try to do that and to be mature in our relationships and see the other person's point of view, but it's still, you know, it takes a lot to do that when you've been hurt.
I'm really honest. I'd have just been like, "Now you can fuck off then."
Same.
So, see ya.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Poppy's maturity because it took me years and so much therapy to learn that not everything is about me and people's reactions and responses to things around them in their environment, and even if they're personally attacking me, has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with what's going on with them. So I'm like, dang, Poppy, you're in your early 20s and you know this lesson now. Good for you.
Yeah, 100%.
And she's she's mentally preparing herself to have the confrontation with Tora to bring up the fact that he hurt her. So she's like planning ahead, and she's not gonna let him get away with it. She's gonna tell him how he feels. So that's also another level of maturity that I admire in her.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still not like that now. I mean, I'm 34.
Yeah, and you know, I also like that she remembers that he said that she could do that, which is credit to him also, you know, and I think maybe she feels that safety in telling him, which maybe she didn't feel with jewelry, because she knows that he said, it's okay, you can tell me how you feel, you can criticize me. And jewelry probably never said anything like that.
Definitely.
And Tora's already given her the opportunity to do so in the past.
Yeah, I think that's also, you know, that's the good thing. Like in every relationship, people make mistakes and mess up. But if you can then afterwards talk honestly and, you know, just work it out, then there's hope, you know, like it's okay to mess up. But if you pretend that nothing was wrong, then can't really work with that.
So we see Poppy like pick up the coffee cups and she's like, but what should I do with you? Quincy and Erdene don't like their coffee black either, but I don't want to waste a good cup of coffee. And we just see a pause. And Poppy just like a champ just chugs it. And she's like, ugh, he drinks this stuff? How disgustingly manly.
So I want to share now one of the lines that my friend told me that it's a line from her mom. Whenever we'd eat together, I would always finish like the last bit of my plate, even if I wasn't necessarily hungry. And she was like, my mom says, you're not a garbage can. You don't have to finish every last bit of food. It can go to the garbage. And Poppy, my dear, you are not a garbage can. You don't like the coffee. You can just spill it onto the plants. It's okay.
You didn't pay
I was wondering if she'd be, she didn't, yeah. I was wondering if she'd be like jittery after this. 2 cups of coffee. It seems, I don't drink coffee personally, so I don't know, but maybe she would be over caffeinated after that.
I also like how when she was drinking.
She drank the whole thing. She like chugged all of it. Just like a proper waste not, want not mentality. Ugh, you couldn't pay me to drink black coffee.
Nope.
I like how the background becomes dark brown when she's drinking the dark coffee. It's funny.
I also feel like this is a good reset for Poppy because she was like really upset, and it would be kind of jarring to go back to work right after going from crying. So this is like kind of her way maybe to like, I need to distract myself a little bit. This is a little reset to kind of get herself composed so she can go back up to the office.
Yeah,
definitely.
And also Lily breaking up seriousness with humor.
Yeah.
So that you're not completely overwhelmed.
So she says, it took me a while to get a hold of myself. Quincy was still at the office when I returned, and we see a panel of her. I'm back in the office. And Erdene says, hey, sweetie, how was the coffee? And she stops when they see that she's by herself. And Quincy just has this serious look on his face. And we see Poppy's inner monologue. And the look on his face, meaning Quincy, told me he'd guessed or maybe knew what had happened. And Erdene asks, where's your date? And we just see Poppy gloom. Oh, look, it's so sad.
So sad.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to, whip your face into compliance when you're trying to look cheerful and normal. Your face gives you away.
And the background's all sad with her. And she just walks away. She doesn't even answer Erdene's question, which I'm just now noticing. She didn't even answer. She just walks away. And Erdene's question mark, just confused. And Quincy pauses, can probably guess what happened, and follows after her. He says, if you'll excuse me, to Erdene. And she says, oh, sure, I've got to prepare for my appointment anyway. Yeah, that's interesting that Erdene didn't go after Poppy.
Well, I
but
think
maybe she could read the room a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if Quincy was going after her, I think she probably figured he would be able to, maybe the two of them aren't needed.
That's true.
And I have to commend, I love that Quincy went after her. I know I have a very soft spot in my heart for Quincy, but like I think he's so nice and like intuitive and a good reader of people. And he just wants to make people happy. I love him.
Those arm muscles too, though, are like.
It wasn't gonna he looks so good.
Well, like both of them too. I'm like Erdene's like nice like abs, and then like his like freaking like biceps. I'm like, geez.
I know. I wasn't gonna be crude, but when I saw him, I was like, Quincy, I really want to crawl into your lap right now, please.
Quincy, read me a bedtime story.
Please.
Or make me a bedtime story. Ooh, how about that?
Oh, that's a good one.
So Quincy goes after Poppy, calls after her pops. And she said, what's up, Quint? And before she can even finish, Quincy interrupts her and says, Tora left early, work matters. And the first time I read this, I was like, Quincy, that's so rude. I know work is important, but Tora shouldn't have been so rude. And then I read it again and I was like, oh, it's work stuff that came up. Work matters came up. Okay. So he continues on. It stresses him out big time. Like, you wouldn't believe it. And then he goes all Incredible Hulk on us. That asshole even accidentally broke Yu's ankle. Then he notices Poppy's face. She's just staring at him. He continues on. He changes. What I'm saying is, us boys are used to it by now. And he looks away. They're not even making eye contact. Poppy's just listening, taking it in, looking down. And Quincy looks at her. The background is much darker now. And he says, well, but that's not really fair because you're not us boys, huh? As if he's just now realizing that.
Well, I mean, he knows that, but he was just trying to make her feel better and show her that like Tora does this. It's not just you. Like, it's not personal.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
But now he's validating her feelings. Like, first he's just trying to make her feel better and say, oh, don't worry, it's not that bad. But when he sees that she still feels bad, then he's saying, okay, it wasn't right. I love him. He's so nice, and he's so aware of the emotions of the people around him, and he wants to make her feel good, in whatever way he can, and he's trying.
Yeah, which is nice of him. But the next panel, he's maybe reached the end of what he knows what to do, because he says, anyway, let's see your smile before you go, Miss Editor. Heart. Which is kind of gross, but like, do you think faking a smile is really going to help Quincy? I don't know.
Well, that's what he does, right? His whole life is about pasting on a big cheery smile and being so happy all the time. So I think that's what he knows.
That's true. That's true.
I've been quite intrigued by, there seems to be quite a lot going on underneath Quincy. We're starting to find out that he kind of uses his soft puppy persona to his advantage, doesn't he? He takes advantage of people using his kind of cute fluffiness. But I'm quite interested, like when he was talking to Gil in the office, he's quite intimidating when he wants to be, isn't he? So
I think sexy is the word. But
I want to see more of that. I'm just saying.
So Poppy responds, you have a tendency to repeat your lines, Quincy. This one's appeared twice in chapters 2 and 6 of draft 3 already. We really have to work on Quincy's reaction. He gets all ruffled. Critiques during office hours only, please.
Can I say though, like when Poppy started saying that, I thought Lily was like almost breaking the fourth wall, and then I was like, oh wait, never mind, she's not.
That's funny. Yeah, but she's very clever that she remembers exactly what chapters they're in. And I know I guess it's her job, but to remember it offhand is pretty good.
But it's
she's very thorough.
And I think she's also avoiding the topic, right? She is not going to talk about her feelings, so she just diverts it and brings it back to Quincy.
And she points out this is office hours. They're literally in the office.
So cute. And I love how Quincy doesn't like to be criticized, which I totally relate to. I totally married my husband because I knew he would never criticize me. It's just adorable. I love it.
And they just have a moment where they're just looking at each other. And Poppy continues, I understand what you're trying to say, Quincy, because she realizes maybe she can't avoid it right now. She has to say at least a little something. Yeah, I don't remember where we're trading.
After went to
and then okay, once Quincy leaves. And so she says, I can't imagine the kind of stress he's under with work he does, whatever work that is. And the focus is on Poppy, and Quincy's in the background. And then the next panel is Quincy. He's looking down, looking very somber. The next panel, the background has changed, as he says, soul-sucking work. Not for the faint of heart. And even here, in the not for the faint of heart panel, the edges are still dark.
Yeah. And when she said whatever work that is, I was like, Tora, you were supposed to tell her and you still haven't. Like, can you just fess up already? Like, talk to her. That look on Quincy's face also to me is just, him having to come to terms with the work that his family does, which he always wants to avoid and not think about. But when he does think about it, he gets very somber, like you said, and serious.
And I wonder if he's also thinking about how Tora must feel in all of this. Like, is Quincy also feeling kind of guilty that Tora has to do this on behalf of his family? And not that necessarily Quincy has any power over what Tora has to do for the clan, but he is still the clan, the mafia's boss's son. I don't know.
I think he does, because he, you know, when they were at Moonbright, like when Tora was on the phone with Quincy was like, oh, I'll take responsibility for whatever. So I feel like Quincy does feel, yeah, responsible for Tora too.
They refer to each other as brothers, don't they? Because they grew up together. So I suppose it must be quite difficult.
Yeah.
Just thinking of some nice avoidance behavior. I just noticed in the panel where it says not for the faint of heart, Quincy's not looking kind of directly at her. He's slightly turned away, and she's slightly turned away from him as well. So neither of them want to be having this conversation. Neither of them want to talk about the topic, and they're kind of forcing themselves to, which is interesting. And Quincy he's got his dropped shoulders, hands in pockets, making himself smaller.
Yeah, he definitely feels guilty.
Yeah, Poppy's making herself bigger though. She's cross.
Yeah,
she's kind of, you know,
getting courage from that.
Shoulders and huffy. Who'd blame her?
Yep. Yeah, and she ends with, I knew he wasn't kidding. So now we have a bit of a time pass, and Poppy's in the office. She's by herself. She's working, and she thinks Quincy and Erdene left the office shortly after. And when I was alone, both started popping into my head again, which is true. And she recollects, you know, Quincy saying soul-sucking word, not for the faint of heart. And she thinks to herself, that explains many things. And she pauses, and she thinks back to the cafe. But how does it explain? Does it explain how he snapped at me and put the money down and walked away, embarrassed me in front of others? And we see the cafe people, you know, saying, oh my gosh, are you okay? And ditched me in the middle of a date. And she sees herself sitting alone. And she just thinks, right after all that happened, which, you know, was what a lot of people pointed out, like, and we have the scenes of her, you know, he asked her to see her, and, you know, she showed herself to him being all embarrassed. And right after that, he just leaves. So, and she thinks to herself, if I take this behavior lying down, what kind of fool would that make me? Good for you, Poppy. Yes, do not take his behavior lying down. Yes. That's good. You know, that might be also the difference between how she behaved with jewelry. With, you know, because it seemed as though with jewelry, she didn't want to upset the relationship. She needed him so badly, or needed the idea of someone being with her, even if he was a total jerk, so badly that she wouldn't fight back with him. But she's reached the point in her self-respect where she says, no, I'm not going to let anyone treat me that way. So, great lesson. Do not let
and I appreciate exactly. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I appreciate also that she's like listing what upset her and pointing out the things that that Tora may not realize he did, or even if he does realize, like, this is how it affected me. This is what you did, so that when she talks to him about it, she can be a little bit more coherent instead of like, I'm so mad at you, which I mean, she still has the right to do. She can just emote at him, which is fine. But being able to like talk through things will be helpful for them too.
Lists is a very Poppy thing, isn't it?
Oh, that's true.
Making lists.
Very good point. Yeah, and she doesn't want to think about it right now. So she's like, whatever. And she grabs some headphones out of her bag. So I plugged my headphones and blasted the music to drown out the noise. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. This is awesome. And when I first saw her like blasting away music, I was like, oh no, someone's gonna pop out of a closet and try to kidnap her, and she won't hear them because she's blasting music.
I had the same thought. I was like, no.
I didn't even consider that.
I didn't either.
We just are anxious and about, you know, bad things happening. And we see the clock, and, you know, it's a mark of time passing. Right now it's about 3:15 or 3:15. And she says, Erdene, well, more like 4:15. Erdene called at random intervals just to have a quick chat. I didn't question her odd behavior because it was a welcome distraction, and I was itching to vent to her about what happened with Tora. So do you think Erdene is calling because she wants to check in on Poppy, or like, do you think it's something happening on Erdene's end? like something weird.
I've got a feeling that Erdene knows something that Poppy doesn't.
Like,
I don't know what.
Like 𝗟𝗀 kind of thing?
Well, you know when Quincy sat with them in the coffee shop, we didn't really get to see what it was that Quincy told them. And I don't think we've seen Jacob since particularly, have we? But we've got kind of no idea what was said and how much detail Quincy went into, but Tora did note it, didn't he? And kind of said, oh, you know, I've seen the CCTV and him explaining things. So I wonder if Erdene is just kind of nervous about leaving Poppy on her own. Maybe.
I'm so nervous about that. I'm like, Tora, you just said that 𝗟𝗀 is like dangerous and you just like leave her? Like, is there like put some pinky in or something, you know? Like,
especially now that we know, like now we know about 𝗟𝗀, it's like, oh God.
No, I was terrified that 𝗟𝗀 would pop in.
Yeah.
That's probably has a lot to do with why Erdene is calling, but I also wonder if she's like feeling like she needs to check in on Poppy also, because she didn't get a chance to talk to her before she left. Well, I'm assuming she didn't get a chance to check in with her and talk to her before she left when she saw Poppy come back all gloomy, because Quincy went over to comfort her, not Erdene. So maybe that's just Erdene's way of just trying to offer her own form of comfort. And maybe this is her way of also making sure that she's not alone, even if she's not there physically. She can check in on her.
Yeah,
I guess so. So she says she wants to talk to her about what happened to Tora, but I don't want to deal with her jumping to conclusions again. At least without not having the full picture. Not without having the full picture. So it seems like she doesn't really talk about Tora with her. Okay. Well, and you know, here she is waiting to hear his version of events, and which again is very even-handed of her and even keeled of her to be able to say, okay, I want to hear what he has to say before being completely mad at him.
I wonder if Poppy kind of...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sadie.
Sorry. I wonder if Poppy kind of avoids talking about Tora because then it's not real. It's not happening then.
Oh.
You know, if I don't talk about this, it doesn't exist.
And also, like, kind of maybe like she doesn't know what to call it yet. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. And also, Erdene is a very strong personality with very strong opinions. I wonder if Poppy just doesn't have the energy to have that conversation with Erdene.
Yeah, you're right. Because she would, like she said, jump to conclusion and be like, he's an awful person, leave him right away, don't ever pick up the phone again, you know.
Is that your best Erdene voice?
True, because Erdene was pretty judgy about Tora, like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep. And she thinks to herself, I feel anxious because I haven't heard from him yet. We'll talk things through when he's here. All we need to do is communicate. Easy peasy. Which I agree with the communication part, but easy peasy, no, sorry, kiddo. And now we see the clock going again. It's about 5:35, and then it's almost 6 o'clock, and she's still on the same song, all the single ladies. And she's like, there, done. Clack, clack, clack. She grabs her bag and she thinks, when it was 6, I packed up and made my way down. And she goes downstairs. Oh, wait, I think I'm supposed to hand it over to Sadie.
Yeah, and then we are back outside at random scenery again. And still, there's no one hanging around. She's all alone, and she's waiting, looking for Tora, who has always, to be fair, always picked her up when he said he was going to, on time. And usually he's very kind of like overly safety conscious, isn't he? Like, doesn't like her going to certain places or being alone, but he's not there. So yeah, she says, no bright red car in sight. Well, I'm a little early. He's probably on his way here. I better check if I'm waiting at the right spot. So now she thinks, this is so weird. she's got it wrong. And she's just, you know, waiting for him in the wrong place or something. And then we've got poor Poppy still alone. So I steadied myself with a few breaths and called and waited. Strange, he's not picking up. And it's getting darker at this point. So, oh no, the sun's going down. Uh-oh. And called, even sadder. Next panel, it's even sadder. And waited, and now it's dark, nighttime. Oh no, and waited. And waited. And this is that panel of her just sitting by herself, like, really got me. I was just like, oh no, she's so, you know, sad and alone, and it's dark. And
I would not wait that long. I mean,
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah, it's a long time from like not sunset to sunset to dark.
Yeah. And at this point, I don't know what you were thinking, but I was thinking, you know, even if Tora couldn't come and get her, he hasn't sent anybody else. You know, you would think he would perhaps send Pinky or I was gonna say Quincy, but maybe not Quincy with his lack of driving skills. But you know, you'd think that he would have sent someone rather than leave her there. So I started getting worried at that point.
100%. Because I didn't think he would ever dump her. Like, he would at least answer the phone call or say something. So yeah, I immediately assumed something's going on with Tora.
Yeah, and if you're in the anxiety club like I am, I was like, oh no, I don't like it. So guess he's not coming after all. It's fine, I'll just take the bus and make my way home. No, and this is where I started getting really nervous. Did you think there was going to be like a jump scare?
I got nervous when like you see her like walking and then she stops. I was like, oh my god, it's Gil.
Oh, creepy Gil and his horrible chin. Oh. The stuff of nightmares there.
Yeah. Oh.
But then she suddenly stops, and it says, I'd only taken a few steps forward when something shattered audibly inside me. And then we've got a big badump, and a really beautiful panel.
Yeah,
it's sad, but it's a really beautiful, all the colors and everything, all of them, the city, the lights and everything. I really like that one.
I'm like a city girl, so this is the beautiful view that I get, you know, like other people have their mountains and rivers, but I'm like, nah, skyscrapers at night, that's the beauty.
We've got cows here.
Yeah.
What we got next? And then my heart started pounding for no reason at all, which is, oh, we're getting a bit supernatural.
Oh no, what's happening? What's happening at this very moment to Tora that her heart is pounding?
Well, here I still hadn't kind of connected it to Tora. I thought it's like her spidey senses, and you know, someone's gonna like pop out and you know, it's Halloween.
It's Spider from Moonbright.
Say that again?
I said it's the spider from Moonbright.
Oh, yeah. Followed them all the way there. Stuck her ride in the car. That's what's happening to Tora. He's currently being held hostage by a spider and he can't move.
There we go.
I think you've cracked it.
Yep. Only explanation.
That's I'm 100% behind that theory. Or the spider's big brother, you know.
All of them, the whole family. They're all surrounding him.
Yeah. And then we've got Tora in a little thought bubble, and she looks absolutely terrified. The expression, she is a master, Lily, of expression, and it genuinely amazes me how much she can convey. You can even you can get multiple emotions from one of her panels. You know, I struggle drawing a smile sometimes. So if, you know, if I could ever get this kind of good, I'd be incredibly happy. But I like that panel a lot as well. Then it goes dark, and we've got "Is he in danger?" and more heart bumps, and then that's the end.
That's it. No.
What a cliffhanger! That was really the end of that episode was so intense. I think that's the kind of the toughest cliffhanger I've come across in Midnight Poppyland yet.
So what do you think is happening next episode?
Okay, so can I be honest? Like when I read that, like when Poppy thought, "Is he in danger?" I'm like, no, it's Tora. I'm like, I have all the confidence in the world in Tora, so I'm like, no, he's probably like beating Gil's ass or something. Like, I'm like, he has Gil. Like, I'm like, he's fine. So like, I didn't think anything of it, but now I'm like, what if he is?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully we'll get to find out where it was that Tora whizzed off to. Has he gone to go and deal with Gil? Is that why he left?
I think so. I mean, it looks like he went to look for Gil because Pinky was like, "Oh, we lost him." So I feel like he went to go try to find him.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Wait, do you think? No, he's in a hideaway now, right? He's not in his house. So, right, he said to his wife's body that he's in a hideaway. I can't.
I know. It's so horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, sorry. Go on, Mindy.
No, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know that Tora's in danger. Because in the last episode ended with a couple panels of Tora driving at night. I don't know. Maybe he's just so hyper focused on finding Gil that he like forgot to pick up Poppy. I don't know. Like that doesn't seem very Tora like at all. You would think he would send a message or have someone go pick her up or something, but we don't know. We don't know. Maybe before or after those panels of Tora driving at night, something happened, or I don't know. Because when Poppy got out at 6, it was still a little bit of daylight. You know, the sun hadn't quite got down yet. And in the last episode, Tora was driving at night, like it was dark outside. And he looked okay in those panels. I mean, he looked serious. But he didn't look like he was in physical danger. So I don't know.
I think with those panels, I'm pretty sure I recognize them from, it's some other really early, like the 30s or something, episodes. And I think that Lily just reused those panels, and those panels, it was dark. I think it might be after he was driving home after he went to her house, and he was thinking to himself like, fuck, because he realized he was falling in love with her. I think it was somewhere in those panels. So I thought it was, even back then I was like, okay, it's just, she didn't change the lighting because whatever, she just wanted to reuse them. So that's why I kind of assumed it was supposed to be right after he left her, and she just didn't change the lighting. But could be, I don't know. Yeah, I'm expecting next episode to be like super action packed and danger filled. Like we'll find out what's going on. It's gonna be crazy intense.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
lots of explaining to do.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really, the next couple of 3 are probably going to be really intense now, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, we had a lot of kissing, and then we have to go. We can't have kissing all the time. So.
Nope. We were spoiled.
I know. We're like, oh, this is wonderful. And Lily's just like, oh, just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she chose violence.
Yeah, she did. Oh, she really chose violence with Gil too. I'm like, ooh.
Oh, yeah. That really caught me off guard. I mean, I know it's supposed to, but it just kind of slammed into me out of nowhere. It was fantastic storytelling.
I know, like I about threw my phone. I was like, you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, and then no, there's too much going on. The whole bit where Tora's like in the house listening to his wife, and then no, it's just there's just too many things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe Tora's found his wife's body or something.
That's horrible.
What happened? Oh no. And he can't go pick up Poppy with a dead body in his car?
Oh god.
No.
Or maybe
Oh god.
Or maybe he sent 𝗵𝗃𝗃. That's why 𝗵𝗃𝗃 can't pick up Poppy either, because like he's having 𝗵𝗃𝗃 to take care of the body. I don't know.
I'm gonna make it worse for you.
Oh, no. Here we go. I'm ready.
Tora's the only one who knew that Gil's wife was pregnant.
Oh no.
Oh. You know, by the way, I really forgot to ask the last episode. Do you think Gil knew? Do you think she managed to tell him before she died that she was pregnant? No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, if he knew though.
If he
knew though, like, he's even more despicable.
So awful.
He's a worst. He just went up to like public enemy #1 now. Like, screw Vincent. Like, Gil is like, ooh.
Okay, so this leads to my what I want to do, the bonus question. What do you think of doing a bonus question? Kill and marry, sleep with. Shall we do that for a bonus question? I think we kind of have an idea of who we all want to kill. Okay, yes?
Yes.
Thank you so much to my current patrons: Susie, Lady Libris, Lily, Jenny, Haley, Maria, Molly, Veronica, Emily, Joe, Rochelle, Saucy Talgos, Meg, Anne Rose, Priya, Alexa, Misty, Laura, Joanne, Patty, Jen, Imelda, Esther, I'm watching you, Taurus, Poppy Seed, Marie, Jen, Emily, Jean, Jen, Erin, D, and Kay. Your support is truly appreciated.